Welcome to Ellie Goldsmith's Inspired Flow. We're at a wonderful afternoon in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem, in the Holy Land, and it's a pleasure to share a new flow. It's been a really intense time period, and I won't go into all the details, but the flow was that this week, God, the Creator, Hashem, the universal power, whatever people call our wonderful, loving Father, who's here right now with me, hearing these words of appreciation, that my one son was saved from craziness over Shabbat, that somehow he got involved in wandering past on his way to meet with me to learn on a beautiful Shabbos day. It was really wonderful Shabbos, and suddenly everything just got flipped and we were having to sort it out, and thank God by the end of the night, Motzi Shabbat, after Shabbat, he was out of that problem, and I took him to my holy rabbi, who gave him a lot of chizuk, a lot of love, a lot of encouragement to go ahead. Anyway, so we went to the beach the next day hoping for a relaxing experience. Personally, I was working on the beach, but keeping an eye on my kids as well as my wife, and suddenly the next minute, as we were just packing up and asking them to rinse out the stuff, my two boys, my middle oldest and youngest, were floating out into the middle of the sea, screaming with their hands wailing, and the other one was trying to help them, and I told him, please go back. And it was such an intense feeling seeing my beautiful little boy flying out further and further in the sea, to the point of where, we hear all these terrible stories nowadays, the current and everything. And I went flying into the sea, and thank God helped save his life. And the lifeguards came as well once we had already got hold of him, was picking him up and bringing him back to shore. They came to help facilitate that. But the main thing was just such an intense moment of clarity of how important life is and how precious it is and how beautiful having real relationships, how much is so intensely part of your soul, and how it makes all the worries and little things that we get caught up on seem, much less than what they are, and put them in perspective so you can overall function and deal with the larger picture of your relationships with your loved ones and the people you care about, the meaningful aspects of life, of being a giver, and having the merit to save my son's life yesterday as well as the day before on some level, and just going through these experiences at the beginning of a week already with not such an easy start, but at the same time seeing how everything is heading in the right flow, to help us grow, help us become more in touch with who we are, so that we can live a more meaningful life and choose things that are more meaningful, that as those waves are pounding and the undercurrents pulling, and that's seems to be the way of the world. There's so much noise and action going on, and a person could lose themselves and, God forbid, drown in the craziness of everything going on. Within that yam is an opportunity to just clarify who you are and what life's about, and find that derech yam, a nosen derech yam, the pathway through the yam, the pathway through the sea. The person can make his way through to where they need to go. And that is the whole challenge, this week in the Parshas Eikev, how to make a living, how to be successful, how to find your mission, your tafkid, and to allow the waves and the currents of the times and all the media and everything going on to confuse you and push you off course, instead of keeping yourself focused and really into the end of mind, as Stephen Covey says, the mission statement of what you're here for, your values, your inner core, and that drives a person forward, like it did towards my son. It drove me through the sea to get my son and bring him back, and that was the mission at that moment. And we have that all the time, opportunities to really perform our mission. There's a lot of musicians, a lot of opportunities right now, speakers, artists, creatives that I'm able to align myself with, obviously with, first of all, and Kodem Okol is Rav Shalom Morish with the Munah Tour. Everyone's seeing me online posting, and we've got the Uman English program have the opportunity to hear a very holy person translated into English during a very special time. Nissim Black's going to be joining us at the Oneg, and then we have the opportunity to go on the Emunah tour and just really define, like each place where we're going, what our mission, where we're going to be with, and the money, please God, that will come. There's always going to be that struggle. How do we get the donations, the investment? It's a constant discussion with everybody who have content and talent. How do they get it out there? How do they have the funding to make it work? Well, it will come. I believe it. If it's real, if the content's real, if it's true, the people want us, then it will come together. That side of things. There's always. I've seen in my short life, 39 years, like how much there is ability to get things done, even when it doesn't look like it's possible on paper, but it just gets done. And I'm living in Yerushalayim. I have a blessing to be able to live here, and even recently, people reaching out to me, maybe want to start helping a program in London. It was an interesting idea. We'll have to see if that goes ahead. So I might be going to London, check that out. And then there's all these artists, and like creatives who round and around, like there's Otsar. He's just like such a talent, and I'm just watching him develop a new artist. And then there's all these other ones, Rafal Ben, and I don't really yet get down all the material, all the things they're doing. But there's so much going on, like YM and Yosef Daniel's now in Miami, and we'll hopefully be meeting up with him in a Emunah tour. And then there's all the other guys who I do have deals with, and I'd like to see how I can get them more bookings at Ari Lesser and Pini Shachter, and there's talented people out there. One of the interesting news stories is Mordechai Ben Avram. So I was at the event from Nissim Black's new album Listening, and it was a very nice experience. Got to see one of these big vloggers, Chucky and Vice for HBO, and they're doing big stuff, and it was interesting to see that whole thing come together. And obviously Nissim's new music is going to be real more mainstream, and the message is very from his soul and special. And it was nice to see how Mordechai Ben Avram got up and just put it into context, what the larger mission is of this whole journey, these special souls who are coming back to Hashem, to the Jewish people and to Israel and the Holy Land, and seeing how it all comes together, and seeing how all the larger values and missions of personally of how I came here, and what now using my skills to help these people, assist them with venues and bookings, and to really have that opportunity. Like I would like to see, once again, anyone listening here who has any resources, wants to assist. I'm always looking for better branding, better marketing, being able to get more investment, to get things moving on a larger scale. Any contacts in booking in any one of these larger institutes, all these different programs that are around, Birthright, NCSY, anyone around and around who has contacts in the area. You're listening. If you're listening to this, please be in contact with me. Let's create a much larger network, more of a flow of how we can get these talented, creative people that I'm thankfully aligned with, and including all the way to the rabbis, to the music artists. And it's just such an opportunity to inspire the youth, inspire the people in all these different communities, and to inspire the world, with the online network, and to just develop it and create a revolution of creativity, of unity, of inspiration, so that the flow is felt in what you're looking at, what you're watching, what you're building. There's such deep thoughts, such deep messages, and I'm trying in my personal journey of Emunah is our future classes I'm giving weekly on breastofco.il and Breast of English YouTube, and we're trying to put it out there, a lot of like message of flow and unity and understanding of, and keeping that focus strong so that you can get through the currents and waves that are hitting us in this generation. So I wish everybody ability to keep strong, and to remember that all their strength comes from that overall larger flow, that creator who gives us the strength, who gives us the ability to love and to care, and to remember all our success comes from a larger force, to not start believing in ourselves in a wrong way, to believe in ourselves in a true way, that we're one with this universal force, and that this unity flow is coming through us all to inspire us and to bring us to a larger redemption that will change this world into a place of positivity, well-being, good health, lots of love, and keep sharing your unity-inspired flows.